Welcome to another episode of Two Dudes with Attitudes, of Wrestling Podcast with Ryan Enjoys Wrestling and MWO, and you are tuning into our AEW edition where we're going to talk all things Collision, Dynamite, Collision, but we got some WrestleDream predictions, all 8 matches on the main card that you can take to the DraftKings bank as long as you don't live in California like me. So, Ryan, are you excited to talk wrestling? I mean, I thought Collision, Dynamite, and Collision were actually good shows, and we'll see about WrestleDream.
I thought AEW had a pretty solid week with everything they did. And yeah, I'm WrestleDream kind of is a little hit or miss for me, but other than that,
we'll talk about that, yeah.
And there's some big news going on in AEW too. Andrade apparently is with the company, but now he's not with the company because of a non-compete. Chris Jericho's on the way out. He's announced his Jericho Cruise, and it's all people that are currently signed with TNA or currently with the WWE or Busted Open, who has a partnership with WWE. Yeah,
I did not know about that.
His Jericho Cruise for 2026, which is like next October, I think. He's already announced the guest list, and it's nobody from AEW, which usually he has people from AEW on
Only that. AEW, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the two dudes should go on that cruise, bro, although it's like $12,000 to go on it.
Oh, I would love to go
TKO is going to do it. Let's look it up. Imagine the two dudes taking that over. We could podcast from that damn ship, homie.
I would love it.
Have Jericho on it.
That'd be fun. But apparently, WWE, it's all WWE people this year. So that could be a rumor that he's on the way out. And then the other news is Samoa Joe.
Oh, Samoa Joe.
So Samoa Joe said that he's retiring from wrestling when his AEW contract is up. So a lot of big news going on in the world of wrestling with retirements.
Dude, why does everybody want to retire? Come on, it's AJ Styles here, Samoa Joe. You can have 2027, bro. Get out of here with that. All right, well, we got something to talk about. Let's hit that music.
Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the two dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
So this Andrade stuff is kind of interesting. Here's my thing, right? For one, I don't think any reliable source has said it. I think some random dude in his basement said it, and now everybody's saying it, right?
That's what always happens.
True or not, I really don't care. But here's my thing, right? Why, if this is true, let's just pretend it's true. This is 100% accurate. Why does the WWE care? Like, Andrade's not bringing money to AEW. He appeared and no one gave a shit. Literally, it was the first time ever that I saw AEW hardcore fans who literally sucked the teat on everything Tony Khan did, literally said this was a bad decision. Like, I didn't see anybody praise it. So why was WWE like, oh, hell no, let's do it. They ain't about to make no, people were laughing at AEW. You should have let them do it. You should have said, dude, go, have fun. Like, what does it matter? I don't even get if it's true. Like, I don't get it.
I think there's more to the story than we know, as always is the case. But I read somewhere today that said that it's a loophole that he didn't have one, but because he violated the company's wellness policies, allegedly, because we don't know that to be true either, but that they added a non-compete. They said, actually, you know what? Since you failed your drug test, we're going to hold you for a 90-day non-compete. So it wasn't in his contract, but apparently it was because he was.
Isn't that what Tony Khan does?
Pretty much, yeah.
Tony Khan's done that for every single person. They're injured. No, your contract's now another 2 years because you were injured for 2 years in your 5-year contract.
Yeah, but he had already. Yeah, but apparently he had already left, and that's why he was able to go on TV. And then WWE decided to enforce this because they don't want is for wrestlers to go, if I want to just get out of my contract without having to do the 90-day thing, let me just fail a drug test and then they'll cut me and then I can go right to AEW.
Why.
I think there's
Randy Orton.
They're doing this to set an example and so you don't. So they fixed the glitch like in Office Space, but
shout out to one of the best comedies ever.
Yeah, we fixed
Ever.
the glitch. But yeah, I think it's just the loophole that they don't, they have the not standard non-compete if you get released, but they didn't have anything in place if you got released because you failed a drug test. So they threw this in there to enforce it, and now the AEW's having to suffer the consequences in Andrade's because because he technically breached his contract. Now they're saying he can't come back. WWE may hold him out for 1 year instead of the 90 days. So a lot of craziness going on in this story, which is just unbelievable.
Well, the worst part about it is if they go to court, it'll be even longer, so it won't even matter anyway. So, but I'm assuming TKO being such a huge company that they know what the hell they're doing. I don't think they would do this without knowing they're going to win or they're in the right. Correct? I mean, I would assume.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
It's dumb anyway. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like
Andrade, nobody wants him.
I know. Like this is all this over Andrade. That's the thing. Like if this was like CM Punk or John Cena,
maybe Edge or when Copeland came
anybody.
or something like something. Yeah.
And then there's also speaking of Copeland, there's a rumor too that the WWE
he's wrestling John Cena in his last match at Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yeah, that's the rumor for real. And they're saying that WWE is enforcing this, and then they'll say, actually, you know what? If you give us Edge for John Cena's last match at Saturday Night's Main Event, we won't enforce it, so you can have Andrade. So there's that rumor too that's going out that WWE is doing this to try to get the leverage to get Edge on TV for John Cena's last match. Which
I want the name of who you read this from. This is I call bullshit.
Yeah,
why
it is bullshit. It's completely
and why would TK be like, okay, one of my top 5 stars for Andrade? Like, what?
I know.
This is oh god, the internet is a wild place.
I think that was a Meltzer source. I think it was a Brian Alvarez or Dave. One of those people. That's who they're saying.
They're inside of each other. Yeah, there's no.
But
they're both the biggest morons ever. That's why I'm waiting for Monday when Seth Rollins comes out and there's no talk of an injury whatsoever. And I hope they do it that way. I hope he just comes out and I get people constantly. They're like, it's a shoulder, bro. Do you not know anything?
Yeah.
Where did you read this? Where are you reading? Dave Meltzer is the only person in the whole world who has said this. There have been people who have re-showed the article, who have stated what Dave Meltzer has said, but nobody has said they know anything. It's only
he's out for 6 to 12 months. Yeah.
Yes. And Dave Meltzer in his report smartly worded it where he didn't even say it. He put reportedly, he put alleged. There was no anything on there that was like, yes, this is what happened. And everybody is buying into it. The whole world is like, oh no, this is what's going on. Like it's what this is what's wrong with our world. This is like how with politics, like we hear one thing on TikTok and we run with it. It's just bananas. But we got to start this show. Insane. People, if you're young or old and you listen to the internet, stop.
Yes.
TikTok algorithm is telling you what you want to hear or what you don't want to hear. It listens to you, everything. So either watch the actual news. I don't give a shit if it's Fox News or CNN. Listen to that for most of it. Believe only what you need to believe. Not everything is freaking real. I'm like boggled by how stupid people are in this world. So by far, Ryan's looking up some stuff. He's trying to see source of who says Seth Rollins is out. Like I have people literally like his rotator cuff, bro. Do you not know anything? It's his rotator cuff, bro. I'm like, where? I'm not saying it isn't, but for you to tell me it is just as stupid as me saying it wasn't.
I completely agree.
Literally am saying I don't believe anything because nothing has been said. Like it's just so freaking stupid. He was out and about in public and only one person saw him and took a picture with him with a sling on. Nobody else in the history of that place was around him.
Yeah.
That wasn't planned. That wasn't him setting that up.
Totally planned.
Did you see the picture? He's like this. Like what in the what are we like?
Why would he take that picture?
100%.
So stupid.
And that picture got taken after Meltzer was like backstage. I heard that he was I guarantee Seth saw that and was like, all right, I can get a sling at CVS and literally put a sling. Anyway, this is AEW. Let's talk about AEW. My head hurts
yeah,
from stupidity in this world. Continue.
Back to the Andrade thing too, though. But
oh, you're back. Let's go.
No, I just think it's it wouldn't be an AEW pay-per-view week without some sort of BS going on behind the scenes. But I don't think we'll know anything more about this Andrade situation until the post-show media scrum on Saturday, because that's going to be all everybody talks about in the media when they ask him questions. It's going to be all about Andrade and not about the wrestlers, not about Darby Allin and Jon Moxley, who are literally going to kill themselves in the ring for our entertainment. They're going to be asking about Andrade, who may or may not be with AEW or WWE. Who knows? So it's a little ridiculous.
Stupid. All right, let's get into it. You ready? Let's talk some Collision, baby. You want to know why? Because it's Saturday.
They brought that jam back, for this episode.
They did. By the way, Joe Flacco and the Bengals beat Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. I just want you to know that in case y'all weren't tuning in.
Crazy. 33-31.
Here's the thing, right? Sorry, off topic again. If you're a Shador Sanders fan, right? Like one of these people who like worship him like they do AEW where they can't do any wrong and you think Shador Sanders is actually good, you should be praying for him not to play a snap for the Cleveland Browns because he's not good. And you know who isn't going to be good on the Cleveland Browns? Anybody who plays the quarterback. Stop thinking Dylan Gabriel was awful. Joe Flacco played 4 games for this Cleveland Browns team and sucked ass. He has been on 2 games with the Bengals and is a superstar. And the Bengals aren't good. So what does that say? If you are a Shador Sanders fan, you are praying that he does not play. Stop trying to get him out there because he's going to get out there. He's going to suck. And guess what's going to happen? We're going to run him out of the NFL. If you love him, hope he gets traded. Let Dylan Gabriel finish out the season. Maybe bring in Deshaun Watson. Let him get a few massages. I'm just telling you right now, if you're an AEW fan, you probably like Shador Sanders. Don't hope for him in that field. I'm telling you that there are cancer. It's just not. Do not get their team is. Their coach is awful. I don't care what anybody says. Their team is awful. All right, let's get into Collision. That was my TED Talk for today. Let's go to Collision. First, the thing we want to talk about, the not acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens teamed up and not only argued the entire match, fought the entire match, bickered the entire match, and still found a way to beat Brian Keith and Big Bill. Big Bill was borderline Wardlowing it up not too long ago, and now he is losing to 2 dysfunctional former tag team teammates who can't even get on the same page. And after the match, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens swore to the moon that they are not a tag team. They will never wrestle again, but they are going to wrestle together. But they hate each other. They're both morons, blah, blah, blah. And Brian Keith and Big Bill got punked in the back by the brand new Bang Bang Gang, where they're probably going to lose to them next. So what say you? I know this is better for Caster and Bowens. They broke up for no reason. They look like dog shit, both of them, for no reason. They weren't working. Put them back together. Let's see what happens. You got to have some casualties in that process, right? You got to have them beat people no matter what. But are you upset that it's Big Bill and Brian Keith? And are you upset that Big Bill and Brian Keith are now going to lose to the new Bang Bang Gang? What say you?
I think I'm not upset that the Acclaimed or Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, rather, are beat Big Bill and Brian Keith. Because I think I don't think anybody, like, if let's just say they were the Acclaimed and they were on the same page, nobody would be blinking an eye at them beating Big Bill and Brian Keith. I think people would be
greatest AEW tag team ever.
Yeah, people would be like, okay, that's a good win. But I am upset that the Bang Bang Gang, which doesn't have any
of their good members.
It doesn't have Jay White. It's Juice Robinson and one half of the Guns. And to me, like, Big Bill and Brian,
not even the good gun.
Yeah, should steamroll them. And but they're probably not going to, and that does irritate me. But I do like it for the tag division, which I've been speaking very highly of the last couple of weeks, that they are telling stories outside of the tag team championships. You got the Bucks and Jurassic Express. You've got the Acclaimed potentially getting back together. You've got Adam Copeland and Christian Cage and their thing with FTR. So there's a lot of cool stories going on in AEW within the tag division, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't like that it's coming at the expense of Big Bill and Brian Keith. I think Big Bill needs to go solo sooner rather than later. because he was having some banger matches with Powerhouse Hobbs and some other great matches earlier in the year. Then he wrestled Eddie Kingston at All Out in his return match, and he lost, and now he's been losing ever since. And so I don't mind that they lost to the Acclaimed, but I don't like that they're probably going to lose to the Bang Bang Gang. I don't think that makes any sense at all.
Do you think Caster and Bones get back together again?
I think they will. I think it's going to be a while, probably another month or two of them continuously bickering. But I think eventually Billy Gunn's going to come back and sit these guys down and be like, look, you remember how look at your record when you guys were apart. Look at how bad you were, Max. Look at how bad you were, Bowens. Look at how bad everything. And now look at you guys as a tag team. And I think they're going to realize that they are, even though they may not like each other, that they are better together than they are apart. And that may be why they went with the storyline of the Max Caster Open Challenge. That may be why Anthony Bowens sucks so bad as a singles wrestler, so they could realize that they were better together than they are apart. And then I think they get back together and they add some more depth to the tag division.
I actually think this is great for them, but I don't agree with you. I think they put them separately, and the booking was so god-awful that they said, we cannot waste these two guys. They're the best tag team in AEW history. We need to utilize them or they're going to leave us. So let's figure it out. And I think they're doing this. I think it'd be nice to have them back together kind of as a dysfunctional tag team. I wouldn't mind it. Eventually becoming Acclaimed again. I think it can go on for half a year. Why not? Let them wrestle, let them win, let them even get close to tag team gold or win it. And they're dysfunctioned. And then all of a sudden they realize they do need each other. And then they're the Acclaimed again. And we get Max Caster rapping on the ramp again. And it's all like a beautiful thing. I'd be all for that. I think that'd be great storytelling. Something that I kind of, you got something? You good?
I was just going to say, we're about to have, spoiler alert for WrestleDream, but we're about to have another dysfunctional tag team potentially win the AEW tag team championships there too. So maybe it's a dysfunctional tag team match versus another dysfunctional tag team later on down the line, which could be a cool story. Like are these guys, can they any of them trust each other to win the tag team championships?
Who's the most dysfunctional? All right. Something I really like too is Daniel Garcia getting added into Death Riders. And the Death Riders were on Collision, and the Death Riders were on the other Collision, which we'll talk about. But Daniel Garcia, it opened up with them like in a stairway, like always. I think they live there. I don't know. But Daniel Garcia is like cutting this promo. He finally doesn't have just a black hoodie. He has like an owl on it. So now he's like stepped up his game. He listened to me. I said he looked too generic. All of a sudden now he's got an owl on his black hoodie. Yeah, Daniel Garcia. What's good? So Daniel Garcia's cutting probably the promo is his freaking life. He's giving it to Darby, calling him worthless. He needs to use weapons. I do like the fact that then Pac came in. They cut over to Pac, which he does look awful. That hair, he doesn't look scary. He's like steroided up, the biggest he's ever been, but his hair, it just makes him look like a nerd who knew how to work out. But he cuts a promo and basically makes fun of Darby Allin for having to use tactics and kill his body and do this, even though that's Jon Moxley 101. But they cut a fantastic promo. And all of a sudden, because Marina Shafir's there, everyone's there but Claudio. I guess Claudio's out, but then he's back in on Dynamite. I don't know what's going on. But they cut over and Moxley just like appears. And he basically says, next time I see you, I'm smashing your face in. It is fantastic. I know people are getting sick of it. People don't like the Death Riders. Same old, same old. I don't know. I love it. I think adding in Garcia was fantastic. I think he's doing great. He can look like a bat just because he's skinny when he's not doing his stupid dance and his fake New York and stuff. He doesn't look like a wimpy dude. Now with the hoodie, he's all in black. He's rolling with Moxley, who's jacked as fuck, and Pac. He like a real threat. He doesn't look like Wheeler Yuta. Actually, Wheeler Yuta kind of like a tough guy. They just look like a badass group of dudes. You add in Claudio. I don't know. I liked it. I thought this was a fantastic promo. I think it got slept on because I didn't see anybody talk about it, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun stuff on Collision, especially on a Collision. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought this was really cool for it being on Collision. I thought this was a great promo. Marina Shafir has the best. She's second best in all of wrestling behind Roman Reigns when it comes to facial expressions. She is fantastic with the facial expressions that she makes. And you mentioned that, what Pac was saying about, Darby Allin being a disgrace to wrestling because he has to use all these cheap tactics and Daniel Garcia saying the same thing. And you mentioned that, Jon Moxley does the same thing. I think they may have been kind of alluding to Jon Moxley as well, because Pac was saying that, we don't settle for mediocrity in the Death Riders. You do all these crazy stunts and all these crazy spots, and you do all this, and you're a disgrace to wrestling. But what if Jon Moxley loses? Because is that then that'll be, he lost to Hangman Adam Page at All In. He got pinned by Samoa Joe recently when they were competing for the Trios Championships. They lost that. And then now he's going to lose to Darby Allin. So is this a way to kick Jon Moxley out of the group, that he was the one making them mediocre? He's also the one that everybody says is a disgrace to wrestling because he gets, spikes stuck in his face whenever he's doing all these crazy stuff, and he's bleeding all the time. Everyone jokes about that. So that's kind of what I took from it too. Yeah, he was talking to Darby Allin, but maybe he was alluding to Jon Moxley that, maybe if he loses, he's not their guy anymore. And maybe there's a big surprise coming at the end of WrestleDream.
I mean, if Mox is out of Death Riders, he's going back to WWE. That's all I got to say. All right. Yeah. We had one more thing happen on Collision. We had Kenny Omega talking about the Don Callis family led again. I feel like you can't have Kenny Omega without Don Callis. And he was getting interviewed, and all of a sudden he got a knock on his door. And in walked Jack Perry. He's like old Jack Perry, but new Jack Perry. It's kind of weird. But basically, what I liked about it was Jack said he wanted to help Kenny Omega. Him and Luchasaurus was going to have his back. And basically, Kenny was like, what the are you talking? Last time I saw you, you wanted nothing to do. You tried to attack. You hurt this. You did that. You betrayed me. You're a piece of shit. You blah, 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 and this and that. And Jack Perry was like, look, I know. But here's the thing. You may not like me. You may not respect me. You may not want to have my back, but we have the same common enemy. Let's do this. That was enough. Kenny Omega's old. He forgets things, so he already forgotten what he said. He was like, huh? What are you doing in here, Jack Perry? And he was all for it, and they're going to wrestle on Dynamite. What say you? The thing that I liked about this, though, was that the shit that he was talking about happened how long ago? Jack Perry's been gone forever now. I like that kind of stuff. The one thing I hated during the Vince McMahon era was that after it was happened, it will never be brought up again. And we would just forget history. It's the same thing that happens when WWE wrestlers go to NXT or NXT goes to TNA. There we are, that he did betray him and everything else. And then that he vocalized it, and now he's going to go ahead and work with them just because they both hate the Don Callis family. So I did like that. Thank you, AEW, for keeping it true with storylines.
Yeah, and that was the thing that surprised me the most, was usually AEW, when it comes to long-term stories like that, that was a year and a half ago. And, the fact that I kind of forgot that Jack Perry took Kenny Omega out on that stretcher and beat him up and then dangled the guts and everything on TV and all that jazz. I completely forgot all about that. And then it was right before he took out Tony Khan as well. And, but so shout out to them for bringing that up, mentioning that, and reminding us that, oh, that's why these two guys don't really trust each other. The only other thing I don't really like as of right now, and I think they kind of addressed it on Dynamite, but why is Jack Perry feuding with the Young Bucks? That's the one thing. Why did he turn on them? Why is he mad at them? Why are they I get Kenny Omega not trusting Jack Perry. That makes sense. But why is Jack Perry upset with the Bucks? That they haven't really.
So he explained it.
He did on Dynamite. Yeah,
on Dynamite. So because we're not going to talk about them on Dynamite, but on Dynamite, he said he cut a promo where he was pretending to cut a piece of wood, and he basically said, when I was hurt, when I was down, when I was lost,
never called me.
You guys did not answer my phone call once. The only person who did was Luchasaurus. So he did explain it. And then the best part was they went out and beat the Don Callis family. So the Don Callis family have a celebration on Dynamite about how great they are. Happy birthday, Don Callis. And on a funny scene where Okada hangs up on Takeshita, but they wouldn't lose. What the? Bizarre. You try to push after. Faction, yes, and then you just go ahead and just have him job out. Weird stuff, but nonetheless, But I did like that, and he did at least explain it, whether you like the explanation or not. He did explain why, and I actually like that because it happened outside of the realm of wrestling, like when they were gone. Because Jack Perry did disappear, and I didn't hear the Young Bucks bring him up once. So I like it.
No, I like it too. And this brought new life to the feud. And obviously Kenny Omega was going after Andrade. That's when they brought Andrade in. He attacked Kenny Omega. So this is definitely a pivot for Kenny. I think they were setting up Kenny Omega versus Andrade at WrestleDream. Obviously, that's not going to pan out. So they pivoted and went this direction. And I actually like the way they did this a lot better than him versus Andrade, because this is long-term storytelling. This is years of animosity built up, and now they're going to work together to fight the common enemy of the Young Bucks. It's good stuff.
I agree. It was a great Collision. All right, speaking of Collision, let's get into it. We got Dynamite and Collision. They did them both. It was like, they said it was a 3-hour episode. It was like 3 hours and like 20 minutes because, AEW has to go over no matter what they do. But the first thing we want to talk about is Toni Storm and Chris Statlander opening the show. I'll actually let you lead this one. They opened up the show. They ended up in the ring. What say you? Break it down. And what did you think of this little opening of Dynamite?
The thing that got me was Renee Paquette losing her shit. Usually she is calm, cool, and collected, but she lost it on them. And then
lost her clothes too.
Yeah, and then and then they're like, "Is this interview over?" And they're like, "Yes, it is." And then, "Great, meet me in the ring." And then they go to the ring, and then they start fighting, I guess. And then they're like making out at the end. I'm like, what is going? Like, this is strange. I like the pairing of Chris Statlander and Toni Storm. I think it's going to be a good match, and I can't wait. But this is a unique build. Like, Toni Storm is just acting like she can't live without the championship. She needs that title. That she is that title. That title is her, and it's around the waist of the wrong person. Chris Statlander's out here to prove that she's the best, and she's beaten the best before. And it's a good build. I just don't understand all the lovey-dovey, makey-outy stuff there that they were doing at the end. That, to me, like, that's the stuff that, as hot as she is and as great as she is, and we don't need that all the time with Toni Storm.
Yeah. At least it was only the forehead this time. So at least she only like kissed her on the forehead. Here's my thing. I watched this promo, and the one thing you asked me last week, if Toni Storm was the greatest character, ever, like actual character, right? And of women. And I didn't say she was, and I still don't think she is, but if she does what she did in this promo with the interview, I think she can be. She is really, really, like, I have a tattoo on my entire arm. It's like 7-8 inches of Charlie Chaplin on my arm. I am an old school Hollywood fan. I used to write screenplays. I wanted to be a film person my entire life. I wanted to write scripts. And Toni Storm, if you watch old time movies, that shit's not easy to act like. In her, she wasn't being a lesbian when she's just Toni Storm, and she's doing that acting, and she was talking about this, and that's hard. That's not an easy way to act. And you know how I know? Because Chris Statlander is not there yet, and she doesn't have a character. She was copying Toni Storm. She was like literally trying to talk. I don't know if you caught it. She was like, "Well, I'm gonna get sassy," and it didn't work. And then that's what I did.
She was like picking up an accent too.
Yeah, she was trying to sound like Toni Storm. She was trying to do it, and I didn't like that. Like Mercedes Money and Toni Storm. Mercedes Money never was Toni Storm. Sure, she pretended to be the old Toni Storm, but she never that she was her own person. That's the great thing about it. Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm. It was nice because Toni was Toni, Mercedes was Mercedes. You don't need to have, but Chris doesn't have a character. So this let me down on what we're doing with Chris Statlander, because sure, if she does beat WrestleDream, which we'll predict later, and beats Toni Storm again, where do you go after Toni Storm? And what do you do with Toni Storm? Toni Storm is just so damn good. And I actually didn't mind it. She was like, "I'm over this shit. We go into the ring?" Yep. And they're friends. They went to the ring and they took turns beating each other up and had a good time and left. I liked it. It was like a mutual respecting. So I dig this opening. And I thought it was nice to see the women open the show. But yes, I think that segment showed how truly great Toni Storm is. This chick could do no wrong.
She is fantastic. And you're right. And I think she's definitely carrying her weight in this feud. She's carrying this feud in a big way. And curious to see what happens on Saturday. This segment did make me intrigued for their match. So the mission was accomplished on that regard.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, once again, we were at it again. We had a lot of Death Riders on here. We're going to talk 2 more times about the Death Riders. It was a Death Riders heavy week. But Darby Allin and Jon Moxley had to meet up to talk. But Moxley said, if I see you again, I'm going to smash your face in. So they met at a prison cell, like visitation center, because that's what it was. It was the phones like behind the glass, but they met, they're talking. I actually liked what they said because we brought this up I'm telling you, they listen to what we say. We literally, 2 things were changed after we talked about it last week, but they said it. Out of our 7 viewers on that AEW episode, 1 of them was an AEW employee.
100%.
But Moxley said, this match makes no sense because you're not going to quit and I'm not going to quit. So it's basically pointless. And we said, there's no way neither of these guys are going to quit. So I'm curious on how it's going to happen. We'll talk about that in predictions. But basically, they had a pretty good promo. They went back and forth. Darby's Darby Allin. It is what it is. Then all of a sudden, Pac, I guess, was also in prison, or he was also visiting. I don't know who was in prison, who was not. And basically just beat the shit. I guess Darby Allin forgot how to wrestle. He no longer can beat people up. He just took a beating from Pac, who's like a B-level wrestler in AEW right now. Got the shit beat out of him. He chewed on a blood capsule he got at Spirit Halloween, and then he got slammed up against the glass, spit it all over it, and Jon Moxley walked away and closed the door. Nonetheless, it fit the bill. I know people probably are shitting on it. I didn't really look in the internet, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fitting to what they were going to do, but I like that they brought up good points of the fact that how can we make each other quit when none of us are ever going to quit? You know?
Yeah. I actually think this was the highlight of the entire episode. I thought
there you go.
This was a fantastic segment. It was well produced. It was very well shot. The one part where they shot it, where you can see Jon Moxley looking, and you see the back of Darby Allin's head, but you see his face in the reflection. Shot, right?
Yeah.
You see his face in the reflection, looking right at, like, it was shot so well and so good. Mm-hmm. And you know, we always give AEW crap for having good ideas and poor execution. This was a great idea, and they executed it beautifully. So I think they need a lot of credit for that. I think this was a really cool way to do this face-to-face, better than doing it in the ring again, doing another contract signing, doing, meeting backstage somewhere. Like, they actually showed some creativity. And yeah, I like everything that they said. And the one thing that caught me off guard is what Darby Allin said when he said that, there's not a day that's gone by where I haven't thought about joining the Death Riders. I thought that was really, really strange. And then he was like, but then I saw what you did
because of Brian.
at WrestleDream. Then like that made me say no. And I was like, that was never, like, they beat up Darby, they beat up Bryan Danielson, and then you guys attacked Jon Moxley. That was a really strange thing for him to say. But
even
other than
Brian thought it was weird. He said it on the microphone on the announcer. He's the announcers now. He was like, "That was weird. I don't know why I was brought up." Even he didn't get it. He was like, "All right."
But either way, I still like the segment. I thought it was great. I like the fact that Jon Moxley said on Collision, "I'm gonna bash his face in," but then he has Pac bash his face in instead. Jon Moxley walks out of there looking like a legit badass, and then they go right to the ring for Claudio's. Like, just everything flowed smoothly. It was such a great segment. It was really good. Probably one of the best things that they've done all year.
And Claudio won, so Death Riders were riding high.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something that's not riding high, though. That's one Mercedes Moné. She had an interview backstage with Renee Paquette where she had all 11 of her belts. She tied Ultimo Dragon's record of holding 11 titles simultaneously. But let's break it down, because I posted on TikTok and I got a much more love than I got hate. But I had a lot of people hating because, I'm racist, because I don't like Mercedes, or I don't know shit. I don't know how to book. I don't know wrestling. I don't watch AEW because I don't understand. Well, she doesn't defend any of those belts on AEW, so I don't know how me watching AEW is to do anything. That she's helping revolutionize independent wrestling and women's wrestling by winning belts and not defending them and holding them hostage. I don't get it. But here's my thing. The reason why I hate this is, one, not all the belts are defendable belts. The Owen Hart Championship belt should not count as a belt. That would be like Stephanie Vaquera saying she's a 2-time champion right now, that she has 2 belts. She doesn't have 2 belts. Seth Rollins doesn't have 2 belts. So she doesn't have 11 belts. So number one, it's invalid there. Number two, she's not defending any belts, including the TBS title. And when she does defend her TBS title, which is an AEW belt, she wrestles pointless people, and she's about to do it again. This is my thing with it. You can brag all you want, but Sasha Banks is such a phenomenal superstar that she didn't need this to help her out. And that's my problem with it. That's why I don't enjoy what's going on. And I actually think it's hurting her legacy, not helping her legacy. So I'll let you respond. I'm going to disappear for a second because I need a paper towel, but keep talking. I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, no, I think you're onto something. I think you're spot on with your point that this is hurting her legacy in a big way. These championships, like, cool, she has 11 belts, but she doesn't, like you said, she's not going to defend them on TV. She's not having a House of Glory women's pure wrestling championship match on AEW. So what good does it do? Yes, maybe it gives them some notoriety by her carrying it, but it doesn't do anything if she's not going to defend it. But also, what is it leading to? Like, that's my question. Like, I was putting together the WrestleDream stuff for our predictions, and I was like, oh, Mercedes is going to be on the card. Mercedes is going to be on the card. She's not on the card, and I don't like what is she doing in AEW right now? She's just she's going to feud for the TNT TBS championship, like you were saying, but against some random nobodies like that. That's not helping her at all. And I think what Mercedes needs is a good rivalry, a good Tony Storm, a good, I don't even like Chris Statlander, Harley Cameron, somebody like that to really sink her teeth into, have a multi-match feud and something for us to be invested in as fans. Because right now, her going from Lacey Lane to unknown wrestler from Tennessee to whoever else she's wrestling next to, Mina Shirakawa to, all these other people, it's just kind of pointless. And then she's not on the card at WrestleDream where she could showcase these 11 belts on a big national level scale. It's just there. I don't know what the hell's going on with Mercedes. Like, I feel like the women's division is thriving, but Mercedes is not thriving. She's like the one thing that's holding the women's division down.
The sad thing is that I think this was all because she never had a WrestleMania moment. I think she thought she was held back in WWE, which she was. I do think she did not get as much love as a Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, as a Bayley. But I think this is her point. She's like, I'm going to go to AEW, have in my contract that I get to say what I can do. And I'm doing it. And what I want to do is have every single belt ever and break a record. So that way I can be Charlotte Flair. I can be Becky Lynch. The problem is not everybody knows what's best for them. And this isn't best for her. And I'm not against Mercedes Moné. I love Mercedes Moné. I'd hang out with Mercedes Moné. I would date Mercedes Moné. I will watch her wrestle till the day I die. I love her in the ring, although I don't even think her matches have been great as of late. And I think her promos have gotten worse because she doesn't have anything to talk about. What is her character? And how is she in enhancing these belts at all? Nobody knows what belts she has. She just has a whole bunch of belts. She doesn't talk about them. She'll talk about how she's going to defend it in another organization. Oh, I just won the CMLL title, baby. Yeah. Okay, well, what title? When? When are you defending it? Are you going to wrestle? Are you going to fight with it? What about the TBS title you have? And then she's collecting belts. You had her lose once for a belt, and it was for the only belt that mattered, and that was the AEW World Championship. So she's collecting belts, but she can't even win the best one. I don't understand what this is doing for her at all. And I think sometimes, and this is all people who are great at art, actors, directors, producers, wrestlers, athletes, they don't always know what's best for them. And sometimes you need somebody to step in and say, hey, this isn't working. Let's abort. You tied the record, move on. Let's do something else. Because she does. She needs to. Because I think this is hurting her legacy. And I know there's a small minority of people who love her no matter what, and that's fine. And they're already going to think it. But I'm talking about legacies aren't off the people who love you. It's off the people who don't. And this is hurting her majorly, just in my opinion. Wrestling opinion.
I agree. I think I could not care less about Mercedes Moné at the moment, and that's sad. She's one of the best wrestlers that company has. She was a fantastic character in WWE. She has a lot. She has such a great background, but I don't give a shit about her right now in AEW, and that shouldn't be the case. And because she has potential to be the face of that entire organization, she has potential to be the face of that entire women's division. And right now, she's just another girl that happens to have a lot of titles.
That's it.
And that's the crazy part. And then I also feel like AEW is damned if they do and damned if they don't in this situation too, because they're making a big deal about her collecting all these belts and everything. But if she defends them on AEW TV, she's going to be competing against CMLL wrestlers on AEW TV. She's going to be competing against wrestlers from other companies. And we've been dogging AEW for doing that all these years. So it's just kind of a, like, why are we even going down this rabbit hole if, they know people are just going to clown them? No, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, it's gonna be the bad one again. Sorry, every time I touch my mic, it messes up. I don't know why I ever move it. No, personally, I takes out Darby Allin at the end of Collision. What say you? Did you like this?
Yeah, I did. I thought this was a good way to end
AEW flag. Let me know.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But
Go ahead.
I thought this was a good way to end the show. I think it showed how strong Darby Allin looks. I mean, he refused to stay down. No matter what they threw at him, he refused to go down. He refused to stay down until Jon Moxley finally had enough and did a DDT right on top of that banner that Darby Allin was carrying. And then I think it made Darby Allin look strong, and I thought it was a good way to make the Death Riders look strong as well, and it really hyped me up for this match. I thought it was a good way to end the show. The Death Riders rode high. They beat Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy in the main event there. I thought it was a good way to end what I thought was a really solid week from AEW.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably not as good. Sorry, my mic is not working, but we got to continue on the show. Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it did make him look good, even though he got beat up or whatever, because it looked like he was willing to take the beat down no matter what at any cost. He brought the flag that he had from, Mount Everest, even though I thought he kept it up there, but I guess he
I thought he kept it
that bad. But he took the beat down. It is what it is, but it gave us the obvious answer on who to predict who's going to win. But I like that the Death Riders were fully dominant this week. They had great promos on Collision. They won matches on Dynamite with Claudio and their match at the main event. They had Pac beat up Darby. They had Mox beat up Darby to close it off. If you're going to have Darby Allin win, you might as well have him look as weak and vulnerable as possible, because when he does win, if he does, it's that much more important. So I loved it all. I agree with you. I thought it was a fantastic close to the 3.5-hour Dynamite Collision episode.
Yeah, I thought it was a good show. I thought it was a solid show from start to finish. And like we said, the Death Riders flew high, and they made us excited about the event. So that's really all you want. And I thought they did a good job. They didn't overdo it. Yes, Darby Allin had a lot of blood coming out from his face somehow, some way, but they didn't overdo it. It wasn't too much. It was done just right. And that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, that's our AEW week in review. Fantastic week in AEW. Props to Tony Khan and company. Keep it going. But now it's time for WrestleDream, and we are going to do some predictions. But before we do so, Ryan's got to hit that music, bro. So let's go. We got a song for this. Let's hit it.
It's prediction time. Before it ever happens, it's a prediction. Lean in close, take notes, listen. Cause they about to point it out quickly. All the things that you didn't see is getting called like plays at the line of scrimmage. You can take it to the bank, the dudes ain't tripping. They've been seeing what's coming for a good minute. It's prediction time, yeah, let's get it.
Get it.
You know what's funny? My mic has always been a certain way, and every time I fix it, it turns off, and I was like, don't move it, and I moved it, and then it turned off. I don't understand. I got to fix it. But anyway, you can still hear me. We got 8 matches to go through, not 57 like the normal AEW episode normally has, so that's good. But I have to say, and I'm not dogging AEW fans on here, I'm excited about no matches on here, and I don't know if it's because I was excited for the I Quit match, but now I kind of think it's going to go too far for me, and they're going to have to do something totally stupid to make one of them quit. So I don't know if I'm all for that, but I think the problem is there's no Swerve, no MJF, and there's really no storylines. Like Hangman Samoa's on a story, Briscoe Fletcher's on a story, Statlander and Tony Storm just happened. Darby and Mox is a story, but I just explained why. Brodito and Okada Takeshita isn't a story. The Hurt Syndicate and the Demand are a story, but we've seen them wrestle 16 times in the last 2 months. The Bucks Express and Tekla and JB, none of these, like, there's no, it's just like, I feel like this is just an episode of Dynamite, but maybe that's just me. I know it'll be good matches. I know we'll come back with a lot of thumbs up in the reviews. I'm just saying, storyline wise and excitement on who's going to win, I don't know if this is worth $40, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, usually with these kinds of shows, though, these are the ones that over-deliver.
Surprise you?
Yeah, and then they have a lot of big surprises, a lot of big moments, a lot of cool things. But I do agree that this feels, you know, we were riding high with All Out, All In, then we were riding high with Forbidden Door. Now then we were riding high with All Out, and now it just kind of feels like we're, you know, taking this one a little bit easy before we close out the year strong with Full Gear and World's End. So, but yeah, I always feel like this is probably AEW's least important pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, other than Forbidden Door. All right, let's break it down. Ryan's going to do what he always does. He's going to try to predict the match order, and he's starting off with the $500,000 match. Who's going to win $250,000 each? Is it going to be the Young Bucks, who are poor, or the newly teamed up Jurassic Express? They're back, baby. Who do you got?
I'm going to go Jurassic Express gets the win. You don't bring them back. Tony Khan would bring them back just to have them lose. But in normal situations, you don't bring them back just to have them lose. And I think the Young Bucks, their fall from grace is going to continue. They're going to continue playing this character that they've been playing of, you know, the out of luck, out of touch EVPs that get no respect from anybody. And they have no money, and they're going to have, you know, more gambling woes and all that jazz. So the Jurassic Express, Jack Perry and Luchasaurus are going to win. I don't know if they win clean. I don't know if there's shenanigans afloat, but either way, they're winning the match at WrestleDream, and I'm picking Jurassic Express.
I can't say you're wrong. You're definitely not wrong. I think they're going to win as well. Like you said, Tony Khan does like to bring people back or have them debut and they lose instantly. I don't think this is going to be the case. I think this is Jurassic Express. Easy win for them, and the Young Bucks continue their Baron Corbin image of being poor. So, yeah.
The only thing I can see where as Jurassic Express could lose is if like Nick Wayne and the Patriarchy cost Luchasaurus the match because he turned on them as well. But I don't see that happening. But I could, you know, it's in the back of my mind, but I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, what's next? Woo! The match everyone's been wanting. It's Tekla versus Jamie Hayter for the only match that has nothing meaningful for it. Who do you got, Tekla or Jamie Hayter?
Well, I feel like Tekla was like feuding with Tony Storm and Chris Statlander this week, but you wouldn't have even known she was wrestling Jamie Hayter, and Jamie Hayter was wrestling like Penelope Ford and all those people. So it was really strange. Like they had no interactions with each other. But I'm gonna go. I think Tekla's getting the win here. I think you know, as much as they want Jamie Hayter to be a thing, I think Tekla has kind of become a fan favorite. I think the people I think, you know, they've been Tekla to win.
I agree. I think Tekla has to win this match. I think she's next up for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think she's going to be the first opponent to whoever wins after we predict later on. So, yeah, I got Tekla winning. They believe in her. I think she's the leader of this new fantastic faction. I think she's going to be the winner. Yeah, easy win for Miss Tekla over Jamie Hayter. What's next?
Good win for her, too.
Oh, I think so. Woo! The match of 1,000 matches. We got the Demand versus the Hurt Syndicate. The Demand, I got to say, Ricochet rolled out in a pretty dope AEW jumper this past week. I looked it up online to see if they had it. They didn't. I think he just wore his own or put patches on it, but it was pretty dope. But nonetheless, who do you got? The last time they wrestled in a trios match, Demand won, pinned MJF's old ass. Who wins this time?
I'm going with the Hurt Syndicate get the win. I think that'll put them at 2. I think this will be the 3rd time they've wrestled in a trios match, and the demand won, the Hurt Syndicate won the other, and I think the Hurt Syndicate is going to win the feud ultimately. And this is going to hopefully be the last match between these 6 individuals, and they move on from here. But I think Bobby Lashley pins Ricochet, and everybody moves on.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's what's going to happen. I think this is it. I think we move on. And I think MJF gets the pinfall this time. I think his old ass has to show that he's important in some way. So, yeah, Shelton Benjamin just took a pin at Dynamite. So I think MJF will give the
MVP. Or
MVP, sorry. Yeah. No, but on Dynamite, this past Dynamite, wasn't it Shelton Benjamin took the pin in the tag? Yeah. So I think he's not going to take a pin. They're not going to have them lose. So, yeah, I think MJF will give a pin. And I hope he pins Ricochet. Why not? Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
So,
that'd be fun.
Yeah. All right. The match literally nobody asked for unless you only watch AEW and pretend everybody is better than what they are. We got Kyle Fletcher defending the TNT Championship against one Mark Briscoe. Who do you got and why is it Kyle Fletcher?
It's Kyle Fletcher, and I messed up putting this match at 4th on the card when it clearly says 5 on the screen. So
what's that?
I think this is the 5th time that they're going to be wrestling for the.
Yes.
So it's 2 to 2, and this is, I guess, the finale. It's pivotal. It's decisive game 5 of this match. But Kyle Fletcher's going to win. Mark Briscoe stands no chance of winning this match, and that's it. And, the end. We move on. Kyle Fletcher moves on to other things.
Funny thing is, I never even knew they wrestled 4 other times. So news to me, but yeah. But I can give 2 shits about this match or Mark Briscoe. So Kyle Fletcher wins. What's next? All right, we got Bro Dito defending their tag team championships against Takeshita and Okada. If you didn't know, they had a birthday party. Takeshita was talking. Okada hit the wrong button on the remote control to turn it off. Obviously, they have conflict. 2 alpha males. They're going to break up sooner or later, but does it start here? Who gets the victory?
I'm actually going to go Okada and Takeshita are going to win.
Whoa.
I think Okada is the unified champion, and he hasn't lost yet in AEW. Takeshita just won the IWGP championship, and he just won the tournament that they have every year, the G1 Classic, I think it is. So he's doing phenomenal things. I think the story is going to be, we talked earlier about the Acclaim being the dysfunctional tag team. I think these guys are going to be the dysfunctional tag team champions. And then the Acclaim are going to maybe dethrone them down the road when they realize, hey, they look like us out there. Like we're better together. Let's reunite. Let's be stronger, and we can take these guys on. But I do think that's way down the line. But I do think Okada and Takeshita are going to get the win, become tag team champions, and they're each going to have 2 belts.
Well, we finally disagree. I think Bro Dito is going to win. I don't see how I think this is the end of them. I think it more matters on who's taking the pin. Is it going to be Okada, who hasn't been pinned since I was born? Or is it going to be Takeshita, who just won the New Japan Pro Wrestling Championship? I can see it, but why? I don't know. Bro Dito's attack. I can't see it. I still got Bro Dito winning. And I'll say Okada takes the pin. Why not? Let's have it. And I think that'll piss him off even more and want even more issues with Takeshita moving forward. So, maybe it'll be Takeshita's fault. Maybe Takeshita won't come and save him. Maybe he'll let him take the pin, or maybe he'll move from a hand. You know what I mean? The old famous, I don't think so. Something like that. So Okada takes the pin, so he's safe from it. And it wasn't a singles match anyway. Something like that. But, I see Bro Dito winning here.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, either way, I don't think you can go wrong with Bro Dito as tag champs or Okada and Takeshita as champs.
So one thing that Don Callis does, it's lose. All right, the Women's World Championship match. We got Chris Statlander versus Toni Storm for the Women's Championship. Who gets it? Does Chris retain, or does Toni get back her gold?
I think Chris Statlander is retaining. I think we're going to see a run here with Toni Storm without the championship and see what she can do. And maybe we were talking about Mercedes earlier. Maybe she goes after Mercedes in the TBS title, and we get an actual feud between those 2 women because they have history.
That'd be good.
and I think it would help Mercedes in a big way. But I think Chris Statlander is going to retain her women's championship. They wouldn't have put the belt on her just to have her lose it a month later.
I agree. Oh, Chris Statlander is winning. Yeah, the end. And I think this is her moment that should have happened to originally when she shouldn't have won in a 4-way. This is her beating Toni Storm as she should to prove that she is the rightful women's AEW champion. So yeah, I got Chris Statlander winning.
Yeah.
All right, we got the I Quit match, Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley. I think we both know who's going to win this match. How are they going to win this match is key. What say you? What's your prediction?
And I had this match as 7th on the card of 8. I think it probably should main event, but
It should.
I said the same thing about Adam Copeland and Christian Cage last month for All Out, and they opened the show.
Oh,
and
so
they
this
closed,
is opening.
and they closed with Kyle Fletcher and Hangman Page, which I didn't think really deserved to close the show. So, so I could see this match not main eventing. That's why I put it in this spot. But I'm gonna go Darby Allin wins. He has to. He lost to Jon Moxley at All Out in the coffin match. He's gonna win. The question is how. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. I don't know how, but I feel like this match is going to be cringy. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be bloody. They're going to do all kinds of crazy stuff with like weapons and flamethrowers and Molotov cocktails and all these other things that they've been bringing up over the last week. But I do think Bryan Danielson's going to get involved somehow. I think he's going to be a reason. That's why they name dropped him on Dynamite this week. I could see Jon Moxley bringing up Sting or doing something, attacking Sting, and that's how we force Darby Allin to quit because he's like beating down Sting really bad to the point where he's like, all you have to do is say I quit and I'll stop. And so he finally quits. But
man, you're pulling some stuff out, yeah.
But Jon Moxley's not winning, so that's why I don't. Does he go after Renee? Does Darby Allin attack Renee Paquette, and that's what causes Jon Moxley to quit? Does he attack Marina Shafir, and that's what causes Jon Moxley to? I don't know. But that's not in Darby Allin.
About nobody.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know how Darby Allin wins, but he is going to win.
I know for a fact Darby Allin's winning. I hope he wins a la The Rock and Mankind with a pre-recorded Jon Moxley saying, I quit. He said I quit a whole bunch of times on Dynamite. They were saying it back and forth. I hope when he puts it up to the mic, there's like a recording that's I quit. And it's Jon Moxley's voice and he loses. That's the only way, minus a bullet to your head, that I can see either of these guys quitting. So, and I wouldn't put it past Tony Khan for Darby Allin to have an AR, up to his head and showing the world what Tony Khan really is. I can't see anything else other than that, a microphone or something, because what are we that I can't see it. I just can't. So yes, sir. Yeah.
There's going to be shenanigans for sure. But Jon Moxley's not leaving victorious.
No. And yes, Wes, we back to back it every week now again, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So what's your main event? One match left. Woo! The match no one asked for, but should be fun. Hangman Page defending his gold against Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe shocked the world the first time he won the title by beating one MJF. What will happen this time? Winning, losing? Who do you got?
I'm going to go Hangman Page retains, obviously, but I think there's a surprise coming in. And I think the surprise is the one return of MJF. And MJF is going to come out and either at the end and stare down Hangman Page, or he's going to cost Samoa Joe the match. And the next pay-per-view, we're going to have a triple threat between these three guys because Hangman Page or MJF beat or lost his title to Samoa Joe, and then he has his history with Hangman Adam Page as well. So I see MJF coming out at the end of WrestleDream and staring down Hangman Page, and maybe he costs Samoa Joe. But either way, Hangman Page is winning.
Hangman Page is winning. I like that. So with his new contract thing, with does he have to get approval from Tony Khan, not from Hangman Page, right?
He just has to say he has to do it a week in advance. But
to who? Who does he have to tell?
Adam Page. So he has to say,
so he can't do that. Okay.
I'm gonna cash this in on next Saturday on Collision, or I'm gonna cash this in at World's End. I'm gonna it's got to be at least a week in advance. But I wish it could happen that night. That would be cool. But
imagine if he came out and cost Hangman Page and Samoa Joe won.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? And then him wanting to beat Samoa Joe and cash again because that's the guy who beat him. Who knows? I don't know. I feel like WrestleDream needs something. I'm going with Adam Hangman Page because it makes sense. But the last time Joe won, it was a surprise. Yep. See? Joe had one of the greatest title runs in AEW history when he had it. WrestleDream needs something. It's a pretty boring card. We need something. You never know. Anything's possible. So, yeah. Yes,
and you know, we I forgot what I was gonna. I forgot what. Samoa Joe. He's retiring. In 2026 when his contract is, or whenever his contract up. I don't know when his contract ends, but he said in an interview that he's probably going to retire. Why not give him one last run with the world title? But I still don't see it happening at WrestleDream though.
You should probably give him a title run, have him turn heel, and then wrestle at WrestleMania, but turn babyface, and then just have a really shitty match, and then just kind of after that get squashed by Brock Lesnar, and then what am I talking about? Anyway,
he has his shirt. He has a shirt that says "The Final Boss." He was the final boss before the Rock.
Yeah, I know. All right, that was our WrestleDream predictions. You could take to the bank. I think it's a pretty easy show to predict, unless they have a surprise, which I think they should. So we should be wrong somewhere. But anyway, let's get into it. We're going to do our weekly segment where we do our least and most valuable dude or dudette of the week of wrestling, and this is for AEW. So it doesn't mean we hate them or like them. It just means we think they were the best or worst booked wrestler or wrestlers of this week. Ryan, who is your LVD of the week? And are we going to go 2 for 2 again like last week? Let's see. Or like WWE this week.
I think I know who you're going to pick, so I'm going to try to go different. And I'm going to go with Roderick Strong. And the reason why I'm going with Roderick Strong is because he called out Jon Moxley and the Death Riders on Collision. He said, he did his whole Moxley, and then he was like, I don't like you guys, and I want a match with you. And then not only does he not get Jon Moxley in a match, he gets Claudio Castagnoli, who I think is a better in-ring wrestler than Jon Moxley. He's not quite the character that Jon Moxley is, but he's better in the ring than Moxley. And he loses. And not only does he lose, but the rest of the conglomeration or the Paragon or whatever their group is called, they lose as well. But yeah, I'm going to go Roderick Strong. I thought, you can't call somebody out and say, I demand a match, and then go out there and lose. And he put up a good fight against Claudio. It was a great match. Don't get me wrong, but still, you can't call him out on Collision, get the match on Dynamite just to lose.
Did he call him out because they took his wife?
They don't even talk about that. They don't even mention that, which would be it would be funny.
Yeah, they're gangbanging his wife every week on Dynamite and Collision, but you don't care about that, huh? All right. Well, yeah, I agree. That was a good one. I think you know who I'm going with, and it is one Mercedes.
I knew you were going to pick her.
Yeah. This girl does absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Ultimo Money. Sorry. Yeah. The only difference between her and Ultimo is that Ultimo defended them, and they were all legit titles that he could defend, not just belts that she won in fantasy football and such. But yeah, I gotta say Mercedes. She does absolutely nothing. She talks a lot, does nothing. I don't get it. I think it's hurting her legacy, and it's a shame because I love Sasha Banks and I love Mercedes Moné and I want what's best for her. This is not what's best for her, and someone needs to tell her. So yeah, it was another big miss for me. I mean, standing there talking with Renee. The only thing I've seen her do in the past year is wrestle people she shouldn't be wrestling who are beneath her and talking in front of a table full of belts. I haven't seen her do anything else. And she rarely wrestles. She's usually just talking in front of a table full of belts.
Yeah. Don't forget the time when she cut steak really awkwardly with Tony Storm, which was...
And refused to eat it, yeah.
Yeah, didn't even touch it. I was like, you left that whole $95 steak right there. Girl, get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, you see her, she don't need steak. She bad. Mercedes Moné bad. I don't care what anyone says. She don't eat nothing, homie. Yeah. Call me Mercedes Moné. I know you're mad at me right now.
But then Tony Storm devoured that meat, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, Tony Storm definitely devours meat and probably tacos. All right, so let's end on a positive. Who is your MVD? Ladies and gentlemen, if you want some humor, come listen to the two dudes. All right, MVD. Yeah, MVD time. Hey, switch that bottom. MVD time. MVD. Switch the time, producer. Switch it up.
I was like, why do you keep saying it?
It's not midnight. Yeah, it's not midnight time where I am. It's 5 a.m. right now. I'm about to watch Crown Jewel. All right, what do you got? MVD. Who is your MVD of the week?
I think there's only one right answer here, and it's the Death Riders. I think they had the best week. They were dominant from, they had that great promo on Collision. They were dominant on Dynamite. Everybody got wins. Claudio won. Daniel Garcia won there at the end in the tag team match against Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly. Marina Shafir looked great. Daniel Garcia had that nice promo at the end. All of it was good. Jon Moxley beat down Darby Allin. They left standing tall. This was probably one of the Pac thing when they were during the Jon Moxley Darby Allin segment where he was beating down Darby in the prison or wherever the heck they were, the jail. All of it was good. The Death Riders proved their dominance in AEW. They are the antithesis of the Don Callis family, because the Don Callis family, all they do is lose. All the Death Riders do is win. All they do is win, no matter what. And they did it again this week. And I have a feeling it's going to lead to a losing outcome on Saturday, which we just predicted. But for this week in AEW, they were the MVDs. All of them, every single member.
Facts. Yep. I was going with the Death Riders too. And if you would have just been brave enough to pick Mercedes Moné, it would have been the first time ever we went 4 for 4 on WWE and AEW for our LBD MVDs. We usually have something different. But for sure, man, they were all over the damn TV for both Collisions and Dynamite. They won everything they did. They beat down people after beat down, and they deserved it. And this is what we needed to do. If Darby Allin is going to win at WrestleDream, this is what they needed to happen, so it feels more important. If he would have got the comeuppance and threw Molotov cocktails and hit them with barbed wires and, little people, it wouldn't have felt as important, right? You had to have this happen to him so he can be more powerfully victorious in the end. So, yeah, I loved it. Death Riders, our MVD, props to them. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not saying getting old in my books. He's putting in the best work of anybody right now.
He's doing fantastic.
Dude is killing it. Dude is killing it. Man's a champ. All right. He's the PWI top 100 number 1. Y'all got it wrong, Cody Rhodes. Get the out of my face with that shit. All right. That was it for our AEW edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wes for making some comments. Everybody, don't forget to spread the word, man. Let's get these views back up. I know we were inconsistent lately because of my work schedule, but we are back officially. We are booming. Ryan's actually posted on TikTok, and he'll tell you where to go, but give him some love once you figure out where he at. The dude needs it. I need it. Help us out. And as always, if you want to just listen to me yappity yap, and you can hit me up in my comments. If it's important enough or at least bad enough, I will hit you back up and we can have some fun. It's at my_wrestling_opinion everywhere you social media. And with me, as always, is the man who is back.
It's Ryan Enjoys Wrestling. Go follow me on all the social media platforms as well. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, we're in the top 10% of all listened to wrestling podcasts. So keep us, help us continue to climb up the ranks, help us climb up the ladder, help us get to the top 5% and the top 1%. But right now we're happy in the 10 spot, but we want to continue moving up. And the way to do that is to leave us 5-star ratings and reviews. And you can do that just by listening to us on audio. And then if we're on X at Two Dudes PC, we're live every week again, which we were at the very beginning when we launched this podcast. We're back on Twitch at 2dudes_with-attitudes. We're on Instagram at 2dudes-with-attitudes podcast, and right here on YouTube, 2 Dudes with Attitudes. Go follow us there, and then go follow our TikTok channel as well at 2 Dudes with Attitudes. So we are everywhere on the social media, and we're going to keep posting regularly again because we want to get this baby moving.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. 2 Dudes Wolfpack. We out.
2 dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the 2 dudes and our attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're riding, denting, they here to get your attention. A 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The 2 dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on time to